Bryson DeChambeau did not whisper those words in a private locker room. He looked directly into the camera during a live interview and told the world he would not be coming back. Not on these terms. Not under this system. Within hours, Brian Rolapp's carefully constructed reunion plan was in shambles. The phone calls started immediately. The frantic meetings began behind closed doors at PGA Tour headquarters. But this time, the front office is dealing with Bryson's full-throated rebellion. The man who built his brand on being different is threatening to tear apart the entire return strategy. Hit subscribe now so you do not miss what happens next. The locker rooms are watching closely. The interview was supposed to be routine, a quick check-in before the next major, a few questions about his game, his preparation, his mindset heading into the summer stretch. Instead, Bryson DeChambeau turned it into a declaration of war. He sat there in his signature flat cap, looked straight through the camera lens, and delivered the words that sent shockwaves through the PGA Tour headquarters. He said he was not interested in being part of Rolapp's grand reunion. He said the offer was insulting. He said the entire framework was designed to protect the old guard while pretending to embrace the new generation. You have to understand the timing here. For months, Brian Rolapp has been working behind the scenes to assemble what he calls the Unified Tour, a grand vision where every major player is back under one umbrella. The LIV guys, the PGA loyalists, everyone together again. It sounds beautiful on paper, a sport healed, a product united, a single television package that broadcasters can actually sell. The problem is that the players who left were not exactly treated like wayward sons when they walked out the door. They were called traitors. They were sued. They were banned from events they had won. Their names were dragged through the mud in court filings and public statements. Now Rolapp wants them to just forget all that. Just come back. Just accept the new terms. Just pretend none of the bad blood ever happened. Bryson DeChambeau is not the forgiving type. He is the type who remembers every slight, every comment, every closed door. He is the type who writes down the names of the people who doubted him and uses that as fuel. When the offer came across his desk, he did not see a bridge back to the tour. He saw an admission that they needed him more than he needed them. He saw leverage, and he decided to use it. The call from Rolapp came within hours. You can picture the scene in your mind. A sterile office somewhere in Ponte Vedra Beach. A CEO who has spent his career commanding boardrooms, now forced to grovel to a player he once publicly dismissed. The conversation was reportedly tense. Rolapp trying to sweeten the deal. Bryson holding firm. The numbers being adjusted. The clauses being rewritten. None of it mattered. Bryson had already made up his mind. He was not coming back to be a supporting character in someone else's redemption story. He was not returning just to make the television product look complete. He wanted guarantees that went far beyond money. He wanted control. He wanted respect. He wanted the front office to acknowledge that they needed him at least as much as he needed them. The call ended without a handshake, without a deal, without even a hint of progress. And that is when the real trouble began. The front office thought they could just smooth things over. They thought Bryson would eventually see reason. They thought the money would do the talking. They completely misjudged the man they were dealing with. Bryson DeChambeau does not respond to pressure the way other players do. He responds to pressure by applying more pressure of his own. He does not back down from a fight. He doubles down. The next 48 hours would prove exactly how badly Rolapp's team had miscalculated. Here is the part that kept the front office up at night. Bryson was not just speaking for himself. He was speaking for every player who made the jump to LIV. He was voicing the frustration that had been building for months. Dustin Johnson watching from the sidelines. Brooks Koepka staying quiet but paying close attention. Phil Mickelson sitting back with that knowing smile because he has seen this movie before. Every single one of them was waiting to see how this played out. And Bryson just handed them a roadmap. Think about the position these guys are in. They made a decision. A controversial one. A decision that cost them friendships, cost them their reputations in certain circles, cost them the chance to play in events they grew up watching. They took the money. They accepted the criticism. They built something new on the other side. Now the tour is coming back with its hat in its hand asking them to return, but they are supposed to do it on the tour's terms. They are supposed to be grateful for the invitation. They are supposed to act like they never really wanted to leave in the first place. That is not how this works. You do not get to call someone a traitor and then act surprised when they do not want to come to your party. The players who stayed on the PGA Tour are watching too. They are watching to see if the front office will actually treat the returning LIV players fairly. They are watching to see if the guys who left get better deals than the guys who stayed. They are watching to see if loyalty means anything. The internal conversations in the locker rooms are not about unity. They are about fairness. They are about who gets what. They are about whether this entire reunion is just a way for the tour to save face while the players fight over the scraps. The agents are making calls. The lawyers are reviewing documents. The players are comparing notes. And what they are finding is not pretty. The proposed structure is designed to protect the top tier at the expense of everyone else. The signature events, the limited fields, the guaranteed money for the chosen few, the same pattern we have been seeing for years, the same consolidation of power into fewer and fewer hands, the same disregard for the middle class of professional golf. Bryson DeChambeau is not fighting for himself. He already has his money. He already has his platform. He is fighting for the players who do not have a voice, the ones who cannot afford to speak out, the ones who need the tour to be fair, because it is their only path to a career. That is why this matters. That is why the locker rooms are buzzing. That is why the front office is terrified. When you see a major champion risk his standing with the new regime just to defend the guys who are being squeezed, it makes you question everything. Bryson is not being stubborn for the sake of being stubborn. He is being stubborn because he sees the bigger picture. He sees where this is heading. He sees a sport that is slowly closing itself off to anyone who does not fit the mold. He is refusing to be part of that. And the players who cannot say it themselves are grateful. They are texting him, calling him, thanking him for saying the things they wish they could say. The pressure on the front office is mounting by the hour. And Rolapp's phone is ringing off the hook. To understand why this reunion was doomed from the start, you have to go back to the beginning. Back to when the LIV deals were first announced. Back to when the PGA Tour responded with lawsuits and suspensions instead of negotiation. Back to when Brian Rolapp was not the CEO trying to bring everyone together, but the executive leading the charge against the defectors. The same man who called LIV players a threat to the integrity of the game is now calling them essential partners. The same man who banned them from tournaments is now begging them to come back. The hypocrisy is staggering, and the players have not forgotten. Bryson DeChambeau was not just a LIV player. He was one of the most visible ones. He was a face of the rebellion. He was the guy who stood on the LIV podium with a trophy while the tour lawyers were still filing motions. He was the guy who kept winning while everyone else was trying to figure out what was happening. He was the guy who proved that the competition could still be elite even outside the traditional structure. Rolapp and his team spent millions trying to discredit him. They spent months trying to paint him as a villain. They spent countless hours strategizing how to diminish his brand. And now they need him. Now they need his name. Now they need his star power to make their reunion plan work. The irony would be funny if it were not so pathetic. The original sin here is not the split itself. The original sin is the way the tour handled it. They could have negotiated. They could have found common ground. They could have built a bridge instead of a wall. Instead, they went to war. They chose litigation over conversation. They chose punishment over partnership. They chose to treat their own players like enemies. And now they are reaping what they sowed. Bryson DeChambeau is not just refusing to bow. He is making them pay for every single thing they said and did. He is using their own tactics against them. And he is winning. The front office thought they could just wait it out. They thought the LIV money would eventually dry up. They thought the players would come crawling back. They thought the system would eventually right itself. They were wrong. LIV is still here. The players are still here. The competition is still here. And now the tour needs to make a deal. That is the reality. That is the uncomfortable truth that Rolapp and his team have to face. They are not in a position of strength. They are in a position of weakness. They need this reunion more than the players need it. The players have options. They have alternatives. They have leverage. And Bryson DeChambeau is the one holding all the cards. The original sin is also about the fans. The fans who were told to pick sides. The fans who were told that LIV was bad and the PGA Tour was good. The fans who were dragged into a fight that had nothing to do with them. Now, the tour wants those same fans to just accept a reunion, to just forget everything that happened, to just embrace the players they were told to hate. It does not work that way. The damage is done. The trust is broken. And Bryson DeChambeau is not going to be the one who fixes it for them. He is going to make them earn it. He is going to make them work for it. He is going to make them sweat. And the front office is absolutely terrified of what comes next. Let us talk about the numbers, because this is where the reunion plan really falls apart. Bryson DeChambeau is not just negotiating for himself. He is negotiating for every LIV player who is trying to figure out what their future looks like. And the math is brutal. The proposed return structure is designed to benefit a handful of players at the top while leaving everyone else to fight for scraps. The signature events will be reserved for the elite. The purses will be massive for the chosen few. The television windows will be prime time for the biggest names. Everyone else gets pushed to the margins. Think about a player who finished in the top 10 on the LIV leaderboard. He has been playing well. He has been making good money. He has been building his brand. Under the proposed return plan, he would not automatically qualify for the elite events. He would have to earn his way back. He would have to prove himself all over again. He would have to start from scratch. That is not a reunion. That is a demotion. That is the front office saying, we will take you back, but we are going to make you pay for leaving. We are going to make you climb the ladder all over again. We are going to make you beg, and the players see right through it. The caddies are doing the math too. The coaches, the trainers, the entire support system that makes professional golf possible. When a player drops in status, everyone around him takes a pay cut. The flights still cost the same. The hotels still cost the same. The entry fees still cost the same. The only thing that changes is the prize money, and that is where the squeeze really hurts. You cannot tell a caddy that his paycheck is getting cut in half because the tour changed its mind about who gets to play in the big events. You cannot tell a coach that his income is going down because the front office decided on a new structure. These are real people with real families and real bills, and the reunion plan does not account for any of it. Bryson DeChambeau is not just fighting for his own check. He is fighting for the caddies. He is fighting for the coaches. He is fighting for the entire ecosystem of professional golf. He is fighting for the guys who do not get to sit at the negotiating table, the guys who do not get to make demands, the guys who just show up every week and do their jobs. He is making sure their voices are heard, and that is why the players respect him. That is why the locker rooms are behind him. That is why the front office cannot just push this through. The math does not work. The structure is broken, and Bryson is refusing to be part of the cover-up. The networks are watching too. CBS and NBC and all the streaming partners who are supposed to pay billions for the television rights. They want a clean product. They want predictability. They want guaranteed stars. They do not want second-tier events with unknown players. They do not want a product that confuses the audience. The reunion plan was supposed to fix that. It was supposed to create a unified tour that broadcasters could sell. Instead, it is creating more chaos, more uncertainty, more conflict. The networks are starting to get nervous. The deals are starting to look shaky. And the front office is running out of time to fix it. The mathematical nightmare is about to become a television nightmare. And Brian Rolapp is the one who has to answer for it. The trophy stays on the shelf. The schedule keeps shifting. The front office keeps spinning. But the players are no longer buying the narrative. Bryson DeChambeau has drawn his line in the sand. He has made his position crystal clear. He will not be part of a reunion that treats half the players like second-class citizens. He will not bow to demands that ignore the reality of the situation. The question is not whether the reunion will happen. The question is whether it will happen on fair terms. Drop your verdict in the comments. Subscribe so you do not miss the next update, because this fight is only getting started.